bunch of conservatives decided that they would, in my mind, my judgment, sell their souls for big sugar water. Big sugar is a detriment to society. I have a habit sometimes of falling into drinking Diet Coke. It's not that much better, so I can say, look, I'm aware of the log sticking out of my eye, but there's no way I'm going to be pimping for big sugar. There's a company called Influenceable. It appears that they were behind this, given some of the talking points that have surfaced, that people have done investigations on this. Nick Sortor has done great work on this. There's some conservatives who have spoken out saying, yeah, I was offered money to do this. This is from their website. Drive the narrative. Influencer or Influenceables, an influencer management platform and agency used by brands, organizations, and campaigns in the anti-woke economy. We provide the tools necessary to reach any audience from their interest, demographics, and geographic location. And the way they were pitching the big sugar water thing is it's libertarian to have people purchase non-food items using Snap cards. That's libertarian. Well, it might be libertarian to say, hey, let's not ban sugar water. People can purchase sugar water with bubbles in it if they want to, but we shouldn't have to pay for it because it's not food. But sometimes money speaks. And we'll go through some of the things some conservatives said, including a well-known conservative woman who confirmed that she was offered money for this. And I'll just tell you that I've been offered things like this before. I'll tell you in a second about a labor union that came to me. Then we'll roll through the big sugar stuff. I had a struggle when I first started endorsing Bone Frog coffee, for real. Because when I heard about it, it was so through kind of third hand. My friend Cyrus, who is an author and a thinker and speaker, he was signing his book at a coffee shop. And this guy walked over and saw the cover of the book and bought it and said, this looks really interesting. And then he read the back jacket of this. He said, hey, do you know this guy, Todd Herman? And Cyrus said, yeah, Todd's a really good friend of mine. He goes, everybody keeps telling me I need to meet this guy and I don't know how to get in touch with him. So Cyrus said, oh, I'll put him in touch. And then they talked and Cyrus learned that Tim is a retired Navy SEAL. Well, Cyrus is a huge fan of Special Forces. His dad operated in that, it's adjacent to that realm. I can't tell you what Mr. Crone really did because then he'd have to come and kill you. So when they learned that they had this common background, Tim got in touch with me, wanted me to back Bone Frog Coffee, and I was nervous as heck because what if the coffee sucked? See, I'm predisposed to like a Navy SEALs company. Gladly it didn't. And right now you have an opportunity to purchase a limited edition bag. It's called Golden Age. And it is about recognizing an economic and cultural revival in America. Tim helped design this bag. As you see it, it's something that you may even want to keep once the coffee's gone. Every bag says God Country Team on it. Tim works with a coffee legend to make this coffee. He's a guy who invented Seattle's best coffee. So the coffee speaks on its own. The bag is simply a huge bonus. Go to bonefrogcoffee.com/Todd. Use promo code Todd to get 10% off all their products, including Golden Age. You'll also get 15% off subscription coffee. Man, I get it. Sometimes money speaks. I had a big labor union, the SEIU, come and try to convince me to back them, to endorse them. And hey, it's going to be a long-term contract. We're willing to go 3 years. This is really about jobs in marginalized neighborhoods. You talk about this all the time. People need work. Yeah, but not with you. Not a chance I'm going to endorse a hard-left communist labor union whose former head retired with what I recall is a $69 million golden parachute. They came off the backs of hotel maids. Sometimes money's hard to say no to. Nick Sortor did this investigation. He posted on Twitter a conversation he had with Riley Gaines. Riley Gaines wrote, they offered to pay me to post a big fat heck no. Nick Sortor wrote, thank you, Riley Gaines, for not selling out to Big Soda like others did on this platform. Respect. When you are found to be selling posts and you're not telling people you're selling posts, that's a big deal. Because if you're willing to pimp sugar water because you've developed a big following on Twitter like Clown World has, what are you also willing to pimp without telling people? By the way, this is technically illegal. If you're doing a post and you're not telling people as an advertiser, it's technically illegal. I don't think the FTC is going to go after them on this. They never have, but they could. Clown World wrote, the government wants to block soda purchases for Americans on Snap. Remember when New York City tried this and it completely backfired? President Trump proudly had a Diet Coke button in the Oval Office. This is ridiculous government overreach. Let people decide for themselves. This is conservatism. We're going to back the purchasing of non-food items on Snap. We're going to take Snap people and give them type 2 diabetes so that we can then spend money on Medicare and Medicaid to help them mitigate their type 2 diabetes? This is conservatism now? Incidentally, keep that in mind, the picture of President Trump and the Diet Coke button. Please keep that in mind. There's an important detail here. Not Jerome Powell, another big account on Twitter. Government overreach strikes again. This time it's soda's turn. They want to restrict soda purchases through SNAP this time. This is an unwarranted attempt by the government to dictate what Americans can or cannot consume, which is an overextension of government power and a violation of personal choice. Even President Trump likes to drink his Diet Coke on a daily basis. The government needs to stop over-regulating what Americans can or cannot do. They're not. They're regulating what SNAP recipients can or cannot do with SNAP monies, and we don't want people purchasing non-food items with SNAP. And Coca-Cola and Pepsi are not food. They're much more like a drug. Just look at a brain scan when people consume sugar like this. It's very similar to people consuming heroin. It's very similar to people smoking cigarettes. Should we have cigarettes now provided by SNAP? They're also not food. Another one, Eric Doherty. Important, we cannot allow Make America Healthy Again messaging to be used to force needy Americans into not buying certain things. They're not forcing Americans into not buying certain things. They're not going to pay for the certain things. And Make America Healthy Again would include stop drinking diabetes in a can. Some officials in D.C. are working to try to prevent Americans on SNAP from using their benefits to purchase any soda. Any. Oh, no. Remember when New York City Democrats tried to prevent people from buying and consuming? It backfired big time. President Trump literally has a Diet Coke button in his office. Let people think and decide for themselves. Americans can consume soda and be perfectly fine in moderation, unless we're just going to ban every food with sugar in it from SNAP from Americans. Yeah, let's ban carrots and beans from SNAP, which has sugar in it, because it's the same exact thing as diabetes in a can. The fastest and surest way to make sure that you end up obese is to drink calories with no nutritional content in it, but with a lot of ability to get you hooked. This guy doesn't even live in America. To my knowledge, he's never been to America, but he's got a huge Twitter account because he's really good at it. Ian Miles Shong. A new war on soda has begun, targeting purchases made through SNAP. I don't believe it's the government's role to decide what people should or shouldn't eat. The last time the U.S. government dove deep into dietary guidance, the whole world ended up with questionable food pyramid. It also championed the COVID-19 vaccines as safe and effective. What was at the bottom of that food pyramid, Ian? Mass loads of carbohydrates. Promoting better health for Americans is a reasonable idea, but not when it involves curbing Diet Coke purchases. Restricting soda through SNAP is an unnecessary move by the government to control consumption, overstepping its authority and infringing on individual liberty. No, it's not. We have limits on what people can do with government monies for a reason, because we are the Department of Government Efficiency generation. You want to make people into type 2 diabetics and then spend money to cure them, or to mitigate it, because they're not really into curing it. So back to influenceable. According to Nick Sortor's work, these are some of the things that they sent out. Some resources, soda bans, and government overregulation. This campaign highlights the dangers of government overregulation, emphasizes how such regulations and overreach that unfairly targets consumer choice. And they go through some talking points. Hey, government overreach. Hey, personal choice and freedom. Hey, economic concerns. Hey, Trump's preference for Diet Coke. Hey, look here. There's some key resources, some images you can download and put up onto your Twitter account, like President Trump with Diet Cokes. Oh, how convenient of influenceable to provide them. If you submit your posts after the campaign deadline, it will still count as missed deliverables. Missed deliverables are deducted from your base pay. It's very important we have all deliverables so we can utilize it in our campaign overview. These are some of the rules people have to live by to be part of the influenceable community. Incidentally, if you gave into this and you've not come out and apologized, why? At least apologize for not telling people you took the money. Grok had some interesting data around this entire affair. Estimating SNAP contributions. If SNAP households spend 5% of their benefit on soft drinks, that's approximately $5.6 billion on soft drinks nationwide. Assuming Coca-Cola captures 45% of this soft drink spending, aligned with its CDS market share, or CSD market share, consumer spending market share, that equates to roughly $2.52 billion from SNAP purchases. A pretty big account online had a great response to this, being libertarian. I'm against Snap allowing soda in their taxpayer-funded program for a lot of reasons, but mainly because Coke and Pepsi haven't reached out to buy a tweet. Smart. The sugar water industry is an industry that is voracious in attacking and destroying people. They tried to do this to CrossFit, and they failed. You remember the interview we did with Greg Glassman about this, where Greg told a bit of the story. He's the founder of CrossFit. They faked data. The judge called them out on faking data. They paid academics to fake data. Big Sugar is not a friend any more than Big Pharma is our friend. In fact, they're very much related to each other in that they're both fostering addiction. I would just ask you this. If you're hiding these things and you're not telling your followers, could it be because you feel convicted? Because if you're a Christian and you're doing this, I'm here to tell you, the Holy Spirit is telling you to confess and apologize for lying, because you shall not lie.